This is Ali, and if you're watching this, that means you are one of the kind few that have chosen to part with their hard-earned money to fund an independent creator. I am truly blessed to know people like you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I never imagined people would watch my work, but you are proof that people not only watch, but enjoy it too, and that just blows my mind. I'm truly grateful for your donations and memberships. Just a tiny bit about me. I work on these episodes alone. I don't have a team, nor do I outsource any aspect of the work. I enjoy the process of putting together an engaging story that people might become immersed in. My priority is building my filmmaking skills and portfolio, and learning 3D animation has opened up a new world of possibilities with virtually limitless amounts of stories I can tell without the restrictions of finding actors, scouting locations, or expensive camera setups. Anyway, to the episode. As I always do when beginning each episode, I jumped into Blender and started by creating a plane to act as my ground. This is textured with a simple rocky soil texture. I then begin adding trees in a trial and error fashion, following the basic idea I had established in my mind. The farmhouse is a beautiful model linked in the description of the episode, which I purchased because firstly it looked incredibly detailed, as well as it fit the setting and the needs of the story. I have a general idea of where I want to take the series, so I knew I would want a house that had large wrapping balconies that fit an older looking aesthetic, a farm in a warm US state. The barn next door is a free photo scanned model. I use this model because of its beauty as well as adding a level of realism to the short. The last structure was the cow barn, another free model which I altered to fit the needs of the story. Once the basic farm was created, I sprinkled some large plants and rocks around the field before finally walling the farm with conifers. The field itself is controlled via the Blender add-on G-Scatter, which scatters objects across a plane. In this instance, two types of plants were scattered, a clump of dry grass and a pile of dry leaves. G-Scatter will randomize the object's scale and rotation, and the final result is a field of plants with a huge variety of sizes and rotations, tricking the viewer into believing they are witnessing the variety and complexity of true nature, adding to the realism of the environment. Let me explain a little the process of what goes into each and every shot using a few examples from this episode. This shot, which I called the Sad Walk Home, begins with importing a pre-made animation from Mixamo, which is a motion capture library, and applying the animation to my character. He is placed in location and the camera motion is decided. How do I decide which camera angles to use? Well, it comes down to what I'm trying to communicate story-wise. As you probably have noticed, my videos don't rely heavily on dialogue, because I think it can be a crutch to lean on and comes across as lazy storytelling in most situations. I'm sure you've heard the saying, show, don't tell. Well, I swear by it. If you can show something to the audience rather than tell them about it, they will be far more engaged in the story. Not relying on dialogue also makes my videos more accessible to people who may not speak English. Visual stories are universal. Since dialogue is seldom used in my videos, I have to rely on the visuals to carry the story. The language of cinematography is a huge subject, so I won't be doing a deep dive into the topic here. For the Sad Walk Home shot, however, the camera begins at a high angle and gently descends to ground level. This is meant to reflect the feeling of the character as he returns home empty-handed, having searched all day for his missing cow. Subconsciously, the camera, taking the audience from high to low, visually depicts the sunken feeling of the character, a feeling of loss and despair. Next is selecting the lighting. The scene here called for a sunset, and here you see me playing around with the direction and intensity of the sunlight. Lighting is a massive topic, as you can communicate so much with lighting by itself. The final step is color grading. For this, I use DaVinci Resolve. I basically saturate the image further, intensifying the contrast and creating a visually appealing final image. It's one thing to create shots and sequences, it's a whole nother thing to create evocative and compelling shots. The story of how I wanted to reveal the pterosaur is one that involves a lot of hesitation, because I knew that a lot of people were expecting a raptor or something to be the culprit for attacking the cows. I played with the idea in my head for many days as to how to first show the animal. I landed on this shot. Because of how effective I find this in other horror films, where focus is placed on something or someone in the foreground, and then something creepy happens out of focus in the background. This type of reveal is far more effective than a jump scare in my experience, so I wanted to show this creature slowly approaching the cow, moving in an almost alien manner, something not of this world or of this time. The same approach was used for the wide shot of the pterosaur dragging the cow. Something about depicting this creature as large and looming, something otherworldly hunting, is simply an unexpected and shocking sight. Mixed with the backlighting and the careful placement of shadows, the shot was my attempt at a scare with mystery and thrill. The last thing I want to touch on are the cows, which were my favorite part of the episode. These were purchased models because I fell in love with their realism. I attempted to maintain as much realism when it came to the cow's behaviors, but when the story calls for a cow to be dragged by a giant predatory pterosaur, I think it's fair to say I did not have a frame of reference. This was all manually animated, including the cow calling back to the farmer for help, which was a cute little touch. Thank you so much for the interest in my videos, for your membership, and for your generosity. Again, I'm blessed to have such amazing people in my audience.